adventure education, non-formal education, place-based education, project-based learning, global education, environmental education, student-centered education, informal education, active learning service learning, cooperative learning, and expeditionary learning. The methodologies reflected in experiential education have evolved since the time of Han and Dewey. For experiential education to become efficient pedagogy, physical experience must be combined with reflection. Adding reflective practice allows for personal introspection of challenges and key learnings. That is, physical challenges provide a gateway in which we can observe qualities about ourselves and those whom we are working with. Further, for the efficacy of experiential education, experiences must be separated, giving the learner sufficient time to process the information. Experiential education informs many educational practices underway in schools, formal education, and out of school, informal education programs. Many teaching methods rely on experiential education to provide context and frameworks for learning through action and reflection, while others at higher levels, university and professional education, focus on field skills and modeling. Outdoor education uses organized learning activities that occur in the outdoors and uses environmental experiences as a learning tool. Service learning is a combination of community service and stated learning goals relying on experience as the foundation for meaning. Cooperative learning alters homogeneous groupings in order to support diverse learning styles and needs within a group. Active learning, a term popular in US education circles in the 1980s, encourages learners to take responsibilities for their learning, requiring their experience in education to inform their process of learning. Environmental education is based in educating learners about relationships within the natural environment and how those relationships are interdependent. Students participate in outdoor activities as part of their learning experience. Vocational education involves training for an occupation. Sandwich degrees involve a year working in industry during academic study. Experiential education serves as an umbrella for linking many diverse practices into a coherent whole. For example, it is often the basis of the initiatives to link traditional scholarly priorities, for example, formal knowledge production, with improvement of professional practice. Its philosophy is closely linked to numerous other educational theories, but it should not be conflated with progressive education, critical pedagogy, youth empowerment, feminist-based education, and constructivism. The development of experiential education as a philosophy has been intertwined with the development of these other educational theories. Their contrasts have clarified differences. Fellowships and other training programs are available for experiential educators, but formal training in experiential methods is lacking for K-12 undergraduate teaching programs. The growth of experiential education is also partly attributed to advances in technology, which provides useful tools for experiential training. When students participate in experiential education opportunities, they gain a better understanding of course material, a broader view of the world, and an appreciation of community, insight into their own skills, interests, passions, and values, opportunities to collaborate with diverse organizations and people, positive professional practices and skill sets, the gratification of assisting in meeting community needs, self-confidence, and leadership skills. To discuss today's this very, very important topic, the future of the 21st century is the experiential education. We have a very elite, knowledgeable, those who are authority and they are in this field, education field, panelist with us. And I would like to invite my first panelist guest. He is Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran. Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran is the former visiting professor, IIM Lucknow and University of Texas at Dallas, USA. He is the director of Aldo Private Limited, New Delhi. He has done his MBA from IIM Ahmedabad in 1980. He did PhD in 1986. He started teaching and researching businesses and entrepreneurship since 1984. He published research papers in reputed journals, international seminars, proceedings, and chapters in books of readings. He started academic administration phase as dean in 1997, rising to executive director, controlling management and engineering institutes in 2007. Her Highness Governor of Karnataka nominated Dr. Sharan to the Senate of Bangalore University in recognition of his distinguished academic contributions. He was visiting professor to University of Texas at Dallas from 2012 to 2019. He also visited Washington State University and President University, Indonesia, on the invitation of the Dean Faculty of Business in 2018. He innovated and implemented a unique model to double the turnover with existing infrastructure in one accounting year. He is co-promoter of Institute of Family Business Management Society. He is honorary director of NCR Delhi-based high-tech B2B digital startup. He is also co-founder of OWGI Foundation, which promotes social entrepreneurship ventures. Welcome, Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran on our show. Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran, you are not only involved in the teaching, but you have also the experience of the management as a dean, as a director, executive director. And you have seen both the faces. And being the visiting professor of reputed international universities, you have seen the course structure, the way of teaching in those countries. Now, we would like to know your views on experiential education. Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran, please. Please unmute.
Thank you, Mr. Lal Goel. It is always a pleasure to come back and share ideas with you because they are very significant topics. I'll begin with a quotation, very famous, popular quotation. Everybody is familiar with it. That's my starting point. You tell me, I will know. You show me, I'll remember. You make me do, and I will understand. The traditional method of education is limited to the first method. Rishis started in a distinguished tradition of orally communicating the truth of the universe to their disciples, and they become distinguished people. But the limitation was only very talented rishis with very talented disciples could achieve distinction with the first method of telling the Vedas, oral. Our times have changed, population has increased, industry has increased, life's complexity has increased, and therefore we have to evolve. We cannot only have that tell method, we have also to have show method and do method. So you very expertly exposed and expounded in your first 10 minutes of introduction the whole gamut, the whole range of the show method and do method combined with the first tell method. So it is not, the first point I like to make here is, it is not either or, whether I go for traditional method or whether I go for the modern method. It is actually optimal combination given a particular course, given a particular teacher, given a particular student. That is where the beauty of experiential education lies, as according to me. The optimum mixing, keeping our realities together of the different methods of experiential learning. Then what happens is we want to be capitalizing on our own experience. And the experience that I had the good fortune to have started 43 years ago. I went, as you told, to IIM Ahmedabad for my MBA. IIM Ahmedabad was established on December 11, 1961 by the legendary figures called Mr. Vikram Sarabhai, who was, Dr. Sarabhai was our space scientist of distinction. We also benefited from the leadership of Lal Bhai, who was a very respected businessman in Gujarat. The reason I'm mentioning is in management education, they went and chose the model of experiential learning, which was started in 1932 or even before by Harvard Business School. And that experiential method is so famous in management education, law education, today almost all fields. And that is called case method of teaching. So you are very right that our 21st century is going to be defined by the philosophy of learning, particularly experiential learning. Now, for those of us who have differences, I would like to offer a point of common convergence. See, I have this right in front of me. This item is manufactured 30 kilometers away from where I'm sitting in a town called Channapatna. This is made by artisans, craftspeople who are experts in woodwork. And the name for this one is Russian doll in our educationist language. Now, the beauty of the toy is it aids my experiential teaching. This is a beautiful teaching aid, serves me on multiple occasions. I have been using this one for last 12 years. And even today, I have not exhausted all the possible uses of this teaching aid. See, if I have to teach the complexity of the universe, beginning with the galaxy, so I'll say this is the galaxy. Then if I have to show the place of the solar planetary system, so I say that this one is solar planetary system. Then if I want to show the place of Earth in this one, so I'll say, see, here is the Earth within the galaxy. Within Earth, if I want to say a continent, then I'll say, here is the continent within the country. And within the continent, I want to say subcontinent, Indian subcontinent. So I say, here comes the Indian subcontinent. And within the Indian subcontinent, if I want to say, here is the state in the country, so here is the state. And if I want to say there is a city within, so here comes the city. And that is the limit. There's no further going. This is a 9-piece doll. I have 2 of them, which are 5 pieces. So this is experiential learning. And I think you will believe the power is unmatched. We educators must first teach ourselves about the tools which we have, and range is unlimited. And you see, as I said, if I tell you won't believe, if I show you will. I have showed one. Now here is another tool which we use. This is a puzzle on theme transport. And you notice there are 4 of them here. Simpler one is the one with only 8 pieces. The next one is 10 pieces. The most complex one is 14 piece jigsaw puzzle. Now, problem solving and teaching different kind of problem solving becomes so easy by the experiential learning method. And the proof of the pudding is I started using this, having learned them during my own MBA days during 78, 80 in BIT Mesra Ranchi, where I was teaching, and other places. And the alumni have become who is who. This method is that effective. Just a couple of days ago, we had Mr. Saurabh Atre, who did his MBA in 92, 94 at BIT, which at best was a non-IM B category institution, but the boy has reached Chief Technology Officer of Larsen and Toubro in San Francisco. The best American university will be proud of an alumni with that distinction. Harvard will be proud. Ahmedabad will be proud. And they are produced in a very common kind of a B school, Birla Institute of Technology, Mesra. So this is the power of experiential learning. These are the couple of main points which I wanted to expound before you. Hope this sets the dialogue, and other learned panelists will carry the conversation forward. With this, I stop. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sujit Sharan, Professor Dr. Sujit Sharan. As always, you always try to show some objects and try to convey your message. Basically, this is experiential education. That is what is required today. Even for all other media conferences which you have attended, for different topics, you always try to bring an object and show how the things can be informed or conveyed to the public at large. The easiest way and more communicating and more effective way. But what he says, what Dr. Professor, I will just highlight one or two things, although he has not spoken much today, just wanted to show the things. First thing he says that in India, the teaching was started by our Rishi Munis in the Gurukul system. Then they used to tell the Vedas or all the earlier things orally. And people used to learn from that. But with the explosion of population and new developments, new things required when the industries have come, so that slowly the other method of teaching is started. But he says, as far as the experiential education is concerned, the first is started in 1932 in Harvard, especially in the MBA level. And then it has come, and he says he's lucky to do it from IIM Ahmedabad, where the model is only the experiential education which they are imparting from 1961 when it was started. And he has shown about how the galaxy can be explained to the students in the form of a Russian doll. And he showed everything which our viewers have already seen. Similarly, about the puzzle, how it can be done. And he has also mentioned if any university, if any campus, if colleges are imparting experiential education, the student can reach on top, which he has given an example. I'm sure our viewers are getting some idea, because what happened when my flyers have reached, many of very leading educationists asked me, what is this experiential education? And I said, please watch our program. So this shows the, it's in an infantry stage in India. People are not aware about the experiential education. All except those who are in a higher business schools or colleges or those. Otherwise, in our earlier schooling or primary or the secondary schooling, even in the, I must say, the undergraduate and graduate, postgraduate courses, there are no such type of experiential education. We used to have practical exams in some subjects like physics, chemistry, but that was a practical thing that they show how to do. But experiential, like you have shown, Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran, was not there at our time. I'm telling you, when I was a student of 1968 high school batch. So it shows that now things have changed and changing. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran. Now I would like to invite my next panelist guest. She is Professor Dr. Jolie Jose. Professor Dr. Jolie Jose is an associate professor of MET School of Communication, MET University, Noida. She has a blending career experience of teaching, research, and grassroots work with communities. She worked in reputed educational institutions like Xavier University, Bhubaneswar, Sri Padmavati Women University, Tirupati, and Blue Mount Public School, Kerala, before joining MET University. She worked in Kerala and Tamil Nadu for 12 years with NGO in rural development sector with people's movement activities with special reference to women, children, youth, and farmers, SHGs, etc. She had completed her doctoral studies in 2011 on new media and children, impact of adult content on children from the Department of Communication and Journalism, Sri Padmavati Women's University, Tirupati. Beside the development project, she has worked in research projects on children, such as social networking sites, online gaming, and children living research project on adult intervention and integrated development of children as principal investigator. She has authored 2 books, Cyber Explosion of and the Realty, with a special reference on the Indian reality. In auxiliary spring, Vatata, no, I will not take the name. I think she will take the name. She has written the story of migration to Malabar in Malayalam. The name she will pronounce because Malayalam, sorry, I could not understand or I will not pronounce rightly. And it is wrong on my part to say something which is not correct. So she will definitely pronounce the story of migration to Malabar, which she has written. She has published several research articles in reputed journals and as book chapters and presented more than 20 research papers at international national conferences. Her area of teaching is communication research, development communication, media ethics, and journalism. She is also a resource person to schools and universities and conducts sessions on growth and development, media education, and parenting. Welcome, Professor Dr. Jolie Jose on our show. Professor Jose, you have heard what Professor Sharan has mentioned. And according to him, the business colleges, a few of the business colleges are teaching, are adopting this method. Now, we would like to know from you, because you are working with the grassroots, and many times it was seen in India when somebody has to communicate with the adults and especially the women, they used to communicate with some objects in the rural side. Now, you are very much associated and you have worked in the rural area also. We would like to know your views on experiential education. Professor Dr. Jolie Jose, please.
Thank you, Goel, and good to be with everybody on the panel. And I think Goel hereafter you can omit the Malayalam name if you'd like in my authorship. That is Vatata Nidurava. That is the first work which I did it. All right. Coming back to our subject today, very, very engaging, and it's always been interesting and challenging to me. And I enjoyed to take up the challenge when I shifted from grassroots work to teaching. In grassroots work, of course, I was into training a lot of groups. And basically, it's a skill training children, women, and adults, and community assets into the different perspectives, behavior changes, and things like that. And of course, we use a lot of communication tools like traditional folk arts, dramas, discussions, PRA, all those things. Deliberately, it's all involving the participants themselves. There is an immersive involvement that happens when there's a participatory approach that is happening, which I basically believe. And for me, coming from the social work background, I studied in Doshni Nilia. The most perfect experience I got was the field trips. And when we have the field trips, we have one-to-one meeting with our professors. That is, again, I call this ARA, what's happening. That's a real lifetime, the first time we had. I really enjoyed it. And when we used to have groups interactions, a lot of challenges. What did you observe? What did you see? What did you didn't see? There was a enriching blending of learning that was being happening. And my field, my thirst for knowing the communities had not stopped. Maybe just started as a degree student of social work at that time. I got fascinated really with the life of the tribal. I went myself, a group of people, to live with the tribals in the Attapadi area, that's the border of Karnataka and okay, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. We lived 2 months for a living experience. That was the tremendous learning in my life. Like, we just took 2 pairs of clothes and one bed sheet. That's all. No money with us, whatever happens. And our group of people will be taking us when we finish our program. That was the literal down to earth I had. I remember my experience of poverty. Of course, we have seen poverty. I had been to, as part of our institution, I have taken to the villages. We had 2 weeks of working in Karnataka, the tribal belt, know okay, who are they and all that. But when I lived with them, I went 3 days starving with them. We had only the wild tomatoes to eat. I know what is starving means. When I went to that experiential learning, what does it mean? And if we fast, I know we know the next day, the next hour, the food is there. But here, no job. We go for work. I used to go for work with them. All of us, we living with the different families. And what is poverty? What is helplessness? What is voicelessness? I still recall the girl in the morning taken her skirt, it was torn. She didn't have a needle and the thread to stitch it. She went to 2, 3 houses searching for it and got it stitched. That picture, it's still there with me. That is the emotional engagement in learning. What it is means poverty. Not to have a good cloth, not to have a food. I slept with that family near the kitchen. Seven children plus 2 parents, one side. They gave me the best place. Next to that, there were firewood. And over that, they had 2 chicken they used to sit. And they'll make noise. Now, that's where I was sleeping. What does it mean to sit? What does it mean to study? When I look at now, a child as a professor who has limited space for learning in school, I can connect. What is the difficulty for a child to sit and learn when there are a lot of disturbances, when there is no food? How do we ask them to learn? And that is the empathic element of understanding. My perspective of understanding the society from the perspective of the people, of the affected. This is my experience. That's my early 20s. I have gone over there. And I continued my journey. Of course, I visited, I was very particular to visit the rural areas of Tamil Nadu, went and lived and worked with them. I traveled to north and the northeast and east and maximum possible states of the country, especially to the rural area. This was to sharpen my understanding of what does it mean when I teach, when I speak about, when I take a stand with the people, that is one. Moving from that experience of learning, building skills with the people, they share a lot of their own experiences. That is how the learning part starts with. You have to go down to earth. What is the learning? What do you think, feel? Because I look at things from a top level to bottom, it's a different thing. When I speak poverty, it is different. When I say you come together and sit together, come for a meeting, that the back of the mind, they have a concern of cooking food and not getting money and next day's things. And the concentration level definitely, as adult learners, women, when they sit together, they have it. So I really take the context of a person who is into learning. This is very, very important when you say experience learning. Uh, when I work into the school, I can say that absolutely no skills were focused in general. And indirectly, a lot of soft skills were learning, concepts were learning. And I got an excellent opportunity to work with the UVN project, which was going on in school. I was coordinating. So beautiful things happened. They said across the school, class 1 to 12, I was in charge. I went through the whole syllabus of the school, what is happening, how can make students an experience of learning. I told them to each class you take a project, which one you like to. So two things I still remember which touched me a lot, how the student got engaged is one. I told the students, so they're from Trivandrum and suburban of the border of the city that where the school is existing. So I knew that the resources where they can go. I told them to observe the birds. They had a lesson on birds. Observe the birds that is coming to their home, villages, nearby side and all that. If no, weekends, go to your relative's place, your mother's home or wherever, observe it, make it note of it. They started working excellently. They started to feed me, feed the teacher in charge, made beautiful differences, and asked them to engage into dialogue with the parents. What are the types of birds they used to observe, and what's the difference now? They came up with excellent changes in their own environment that is being happened. Same way, I told them to observe fish. There were small streams next to their own house. As groups, they go observe what's it and what's the difference. Discuss with their parents and grandparents what has been happening. They created a lot of pictures and they connected different types of fishes, river fish. What is extinct? They came up with some of the fish that is being extincting. That was so revealing. That experiential learning. So the whole school, I can see it was like a celebration. And I used to keep all the learning and a kind of exhibition. Everybody will go and learn. And students, they feel so excited to share their own experience. I found this, I saw this, and they wrote these stories. I told them to write their poetry related to it. They started to narrate it, their own observations. That was, I know, the experience. That's a difference which has been. They still remember me. They are in touch with me, though I left the school now. Another thing in the experiential learning, same thing. There was Kumaran, that is one of the famous poet in Kerala. I was teaching +2, the English language. I take them next. They take special permission. It takes extra effort to take it. It's not there. I take them there, go watch, sit and write. He was a poet. What's the poet? What is he narrating? And to write an article, go through that. And I used to make them sit there. There's some quiet, very quiet space. Sit and write a poetry or whatever you like. You just express what you write. There are a lot of writing in +2 to write it. So that's how I still remember when I was there for 3 years. I used to work with that. Coming to university, that is, I'm in communication. Of course, a lot of skill-based learning is there, and everything cannot be taught in experiential education. Everything cannot be. So multiple approaches are required for multiple subjects, like issue inquiring approach. So was talking about problem-based learning. Then there are scientific inquiry, case studies, context studies, study visits, and in experiential learning, all of it, there's a blend of all these things. There's a lot of inquiry comes in. So it starts with any point. That is what David called, who is um, the person for experiential learning, introduced with adult education and informal education and all that. But when you say experiential learning, naturally other elements are getting into blended. Like inquiry comes in, why things happen, why do we feel that, what is the element, what is the problem in the system. The question naturally comes in, and your skills automatically learns. I remember as first year BSW student, we were sitting with the MSW senior batches, and I had very unique inquiries. As a person coming from the village, I was not so much open to that, but my inquiry into the life of people in community made me think, reflect, connect why things are there happening, why this is this way, why it's not that way, and why the values are there. It questions my own value. The group challenges when this ARA happens. So of course, when you work with the group and people, ARA continuously happens, action, reflection, action. What is the process? You learn to challenge self. And we are in a group in the corporate system. We need to look at both. When we, I see that in learning, of course, we have to be think out of the box. We also learn to think within a system, also both. Think within the box and also out of the box. This is my perspective. There is a system. What is there? How can we go with it? That is also a supportive thing, but at the same time, not confined to that. Go out of the system. Why things are not like this? This is what is being happening. And experiential learning, we need not teach many things. Things get evolved. That is one of the beautiful thing. I worked with in a project of research with 6 years long. We never taught verbally. We decided we are not going to teach anything. Okay, you do this, you do that, you do this. Only we do the processing. There were a number of people with us who had multiple experiences working with. And the students from class 4th to 12 were with us, like about 10, 11 age years to 12. Um, so we took them to a lot of exposures. Then we come back and we'll have dialogue and discussions, and we give them responsibilities. You manage the mess, you manage the class, and you take the guest comes, how to behave. We'll have a discussion. We take how have you seen, and the processing we used to do very well with them. At the second year, the first year we took them for an observation to nomads life, group of people, to the city, how the city and surroundings are and all that, and to the slums over that. It's not exactly slum, but almost, Kerala, we don't have that big slums. Where Pathanamthitta, we were having the program. They have seen, they interacted, we had the process. The next year, these children of class 9 and 10, during vacation, they went around, they started to observe people without food on the street. They themselves started a program among the students, packing food and distributing. It was so beautiful. Nobody thought. They still do that. Even now, they still do that. This is the 8th year they're doing that. They wanted to say that nobody should be starving. They encouraged people in their own group and neighbors, pack one more packet of food. Lunch break, they take permission from the school and they get together, and somebody, one or two, would go and distribute. This value, we didn't tell them you have to serve the people. Our team didn't tell them you have to do this. Add pastor the group or nothing. This has evolved a compassionate attitude to life. We had taken them to walk with the river. There was a group that were linking that has been happening. That experience made them be very, very, very sensitive to the nature, to one another. And during pandemic, during flood, they volunteered. We'll come and do it. I'm far away. There is a team working over there. When there is a need, they volunteer. This value, no other schools, nobody had come. Why could they come? Because they had the exposure, they had the opportunity to reflect, think. That was the learning that is being happening. So our group wanted to bridge the gap in the formal learning and in the life within adult guidance. So I would say that as a learner, the individual thought process happens, group discussion possibilities happens, questioning, processing, writing, expressing through drama, music in their own forms. A self-exploration basically happens through the experiential learning. Coming to the university syllabus, I think one of the challenges, if I look at what is the challenges in experience learning, one is our syllabus itself. Many subjects where we could include a lot of learning elements, it is not incorporated, one. Secondly, of course, as professors, as faculties, we have the freedom to explore and use it, and how much of pain it is being taken. And my own experience, I tell you, when I teach theory, I conduct seminars. I tell them, I don't conduct, you people conduct seminars. Give the title, everything. Organization skill you are going to learn over here. And you write your paper I will be looking at everything. I will look through the paper. Everybody go, present, speak, challenge. How do you teach a theory? Then somebody, I don't know why, if you teach theory like that, we also entitled to teach. There were people who behind discouraging. This is one of the elements because it's taking a lot of pain to get a group of students to have an maybe 1 day, 2 day, 3 day with a gap of a seminar to organize with external peoples and all that is just painstaking. But to me, coming from a different background, who really focus the students to learn skills, I cannot sit back. There's something that is driving within me always, to take the students to feel, to sit, feel. Of course, journalism, they write, they produce television programs, they produce a lot of radios and design everything. Those a lot more opportunities are there. But to make it relevant, the reflective process is more important. Sam, I differ with who has the opinion that when you let the children go, they do and live it. No, learning happens when there is a process of reflection happens with the students, with the child. It can be at home, it can happen. The learning can be taken up by the parents. That is the most, the new parental approach you say is not instructing, but the reflective process you go through with the child. The reflective, don't find fault with a child, don't find fault with the student, but take the reflective element, which I have learned through the process, and it is non-offensive. I try to do it with the adult students. So I would like to conclude here that one point, going into virtual platform, there is a real challenge for this experiential learning, because online meeting online really hampers meeting people. You don't get the people, you will be discussing your better side is shown, the other side is no. You also don't get to see the bad side of the other. You get angry, what you do, the other person get irritated, restless, angry, agitated. What would you, how would you handle the situation? The virtual meetings problem is, I said, if you get angry, irritated, you just go, you don't know what's happening, how the body behaves. Like in the medical education, you go with equipments, the human reactions and responses are missed out, the human touch is missed. The person feels the pain with an injection, you see and feel how it is being missed, though we are advanced in that. So experiential education, um, they're really getting hampered when we go into the virtual, and it's a challenge to how to get into a combination of where it is best put the experience, where it is best put is the implement issue based or problem based or the scientific inquiry or case study, whatever it is. It has to be incorporated. Everything cannot be experienced, but definitely maximum possible subjects, the learning process to be blended. Nothing can withstand with it, and we never ever forget that subject. What does it mean to you? And it is the best way to give back to the society when the person go through that experience. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Jolie Jos, for giving your views. And what she says, that she, from the very beginning, because she is in the social works, she has seen done herself the experiential learning or education. And she says she used to go and in the field trips, and there they used to see whatsoever they watch. Then they have a group discussion. They have to write on that what they have seen, what they have not seen, etc. But one thing very important she made is that when she, in one of the experiences, when she stayed 3 nights with a very, very poverty-stricken area of between the Karnataka and Tamil Nadu border, and in which the family who are not having even 2 meals to eat properly, even the needle they were not having to stitch the torn frock of a child, and 7 and 9 people are sleeping in one small room with 2 chickens in that. So she says that is where she stayed there for 3 days without proper meal. Even one, I think what she mentioned is about one bowl of water of dal or something like that, rasam or something. Which is it correct, Dr. Jose, what you have taken at that time in 3 days, those 3 days? Please unmute.
No, it's just tomatoes.
Tomatoes, okay.
Wild tomatoes.
Boiled tomatoes she has taken.
Wild tomato. We
okay.
go to the field.
Yeah, wild tomatoes, yes.
Yeah.
So that is where she experienced. Now, this is experiential learning. If anybody, we talk about poverty, sitting in the air-conditioned rooms, but have we have seen our leaders irrespective of parties, go to a poor, low class caste person's house, have a lunch there with a full-fledged lunch with all Bisleri water, etc., etc. But this is not experiential learning. Experiential learning is if they will go there, as Dr. Jose has mentioned, stay there 2-3 days, do the same thing what they are doing, not with your security persons, not with your portable air conditioners and whatnot. And she also mentioned that we have to think within and out of the box. That is very important, because what we are doing it right now, we are just thinking what is we are being taught. We have to learn out of the box what is happening here and there. And she mentioned how the birds were watched and how she has given an assignment, and they were so happy. Students were happy. She has asked them to visit a mess, how they are preparing the food, how the people should be behaved while eating, how to receive a guest, etc. And she says the advantage is that those students are always proactive to do work whenever there is a need in the social work or something like that. But she says there is a challenge that is online now, because online this is a challenge about the experiential learning. So she said it is a blended thing where we require experiential as well as the traditional learning or the education. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Jolie-Jose. I would like to add one thing. I have seen, I visited London, there, the Lord's Stadium, everybody knows. We know all the stadiums by names, Chepauk or Brabant or whatnot. But we have, how many of us have got the privilege to go inside the dressing room? Because the dressing room is such a thing which has not been seen to show to anyone except the players or the field staff. But what the UK people have done, they have made a tours where the schools or anybody's, they are sending their children, everybody is going, they are going inside the entire complex of the stadium. I have seen 2 stadiums, Lord's as well as Manchester United Stadium, and all the dressing rooms, how the players comes, where they have to sit, how the coach used to tell them, the boardroom, everything they have shown. The photographs are there, and I have seen even that famous balcony where our Captain Ganguly has taken off the shirt and waved like this. That also they have shown. This is experiential. Why we are not doing in India? We have all many things to show. We are just saying, okay, go to Taj Mahal. But why only Taj Mahal? Why not all these stadiums? Why not those space things which are now like NASA in USA? It is open. The students are going. Now, the student of a 3 or 5 or 6 years, when he or she is going to NASA, coming back, and when he or she is going to learn about the space thing, her knowledge is far, far better than those who have not seen it. I'm not saying that everything is possible in India, but there are many things. We have Sriharikota space things. We have many, many things. Why not? I will also give you an example. In USA or UK, what they are doing is they are like the fire brigades. Every city is having fire brigade. Once the fire brigade, they have a lifetime span, say 10 years. The 10 years the fire brigade has to always work or whatsoever the time. After that, it becomes redundant because it cannot serve. But what they have done is they maintain those. They ask the schools to send the children. They explain each and every working of the fire brigade. They ask them, they provide the dresses. They have the dresses, all dresses of all the sizes. They ask them to wear at the children, and they will sit inside. They will see all the functions, actual functions. There is a Trigger Park in USA where the small children, all children are going. There the JCBs, the road rollers, mixer, everything is there, what is used in our construction thing. And they are allowing them to sit. And if the child is of certain age of say about 8 or 10 years, he can even drive. With definitely there somebody is sitting to observe. Now, this knowledge is experiential education, which in India we can very well provide. These are not a very difficult thing, which even a private companies or the government can provide. So I feel that in India we have lots of things which can be added. Instead of we will look only to the government, we can also start these things. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Jolie-Jose, and really your experience, really it is something I appeal to my viewers whenever we discuss. And especially, I can say myself, I am doing this media conference with Lal Goel every day. But whether I have those experiences myself, no. So this is the problem. We have to go, we have to see that, and then we can talk more authentically. Thank you very much to open my eyes. I will try, once the COVID will over, I will also try to experience all those things. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Jolie Jose. Now I would like to invite my next guest, and he's Dr. Nagendra S. Dr. Nagendra S has done his post-graduation in economics from Mangalore University in 2004. He has done his MBA in marketing from KSOU Mysore. He obtained his doctoral degree in economics from Mangalore University in 2008. His experience in teaching includes managerial economics, business statistics, econometrics, financial management, strategic credit management, banking and financial services, insurance and risk management, merger and acquisition, and marketing subjects. He has published 4 books with sole and co-authorship, 1 edited books, 4 Scopus publications, and UGC Care List publications, along with peer-reviewed publications. He is having total 19 national and international publications to his credit. He has reviewed manuscripts for international journals. At present, he is the chief advisor of 3 international journals. He has attended total 14 conferences and presented papers and organized 15 guest talks, training programs. At present, he is faculty at SDM College, Ujre in retail and supply chain management. Welcome, Dr. Nagendra S. on our show. Dr. Nagendra S., you have heard Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran, you have heard Professor Dr. Jolie Jose. Now, you are teaching almost all those things which are above my head, those topics. Definitely, they are nowadays. But we would like to know your views on experiential education. Dr. Nagendra S., please.
Very good morning to all of you. First of all, I would like to thank Lal Goel sir for giving me this opportunity, wonderful opportunity. And also, I thank Dr. Sudhir Sharan sir and Dr. Jolie Jose for their, a very thoughtful insight into the subject matter. Many thanks, all of you. First of all, let me take you through this the meaning that already it is told by the panelist. Once again, there is no requirement of saying that one, but still some word I want to stress or underline, that is reflection. So this learning through experience, whatever now we are talking about, experiential learning, that is learning through experience, and then learning through reflection on doing. So that the important one concept is that learning through reflection on doing. So why I'm stressing on that word reflection, because the point is here, we do a lot of projects it may be capstone project or maybe internship, that all we are doing at the end of the semester. Many MBA colleges or maybe institutes or maybe management institutes, what they do is they'll do it at the end of the semester, or maybe summer internship may be there in between. If it is there, then it is really good. But most of the courses we will be giving this learning opportunity through capstone projects. Suppose if students are enrolling to some of the courses like business analytics, professional courses, they'll get this opportunity to do their internship or capstone project at the end of the academic year or program. Then the question is whether they are really getting enough time to have a reflection on what they have done so far already, because these things are at the end it's happening, and we are not getting enough time to do that synthesis or reflection. So my point is, if these type of projects are in between, like in the different intervals, if it is given like mini projects or along with the mini projects, these big projects, if it is cut into different pieces, like the first phase, second phase, third phase, and then every phase we will have an opportunity to give some reflection on what they have done, and finally we are doing the final project kind of thing. If it is there, then really that word it is having meaning, that is learning through reflection on what we have done. So then there will be meaning. That's one point. Then other than that, as our Dr. Jolie just already pointed out, it's very important point. That is, whenever we do or whenever we think out of the box, at the same time we have to think inside the box also. I would like to relate this with having a proper skeleton, or what we can say, the framework for what we do. Why? Because there will be more, what we can say, linearity, or what we can say, freedom of doing this experiential learning. Many times it happens. What they do, they'll say that our subject is different, this subject is different. I agree with that, because every subject is unique in its own nature, and definitely we cannot implement a same method to every subject in one way. So we need to have different methods sometimes, because of very nature of the subject. But the question is, we have to have framework. That's very important. Within the box, we have to have the framework. Okay, you do out of the box, that is an extra thing. Learning will be there, so we can synthesize later. It will be like new thing learned, and we can develop new model or new framework. But if you are having a proper framework, we are doing with the framework, then you are not missing a lot of important ingredients. Then we can ensure the quality. Many times what happens, the faculties will do, one person is just asking to copy paste and present, another person is in just employing the same subject. Sometimes it happens, employing some of the analytical tools and do the analysis. The another person is only concentrating on the qualitative analysis but not quantitative. There is no proper guidelines content. They are taking it in their own way, using that freedom sometime to for their benefit kind of thing, because what is easy for them, that sometimes they may do, then it is at the end it is going to create a question mark on whatever learned. That uniformity is not there. Uniformity should be there, and also speciality also should be there, and we have to have the framework, and also we have to have the out of the box thinking also. So that's very important. And another thing is whenever we include lots of activities which gives a lot of entertainment to the students, though there is greater learning is also not there, students will start loving it whenever they are not that much serious, because if they have not earned that money, spent on that, or if that fees is not too much, the father or mom gave that money and they're just coming to do their that course like that, if they have mentality. And what they more like is the entertainment what they get out of some activities what we do, rather what learning on that, there will be less focus will be there. Focus will be there, but what happens, they will be loving that, because it is more learning is there, but more entertainment is there. That is also we have to look in, because there we have to think to these type of activities, to what level, that means to what level students, what type of activities we can do. That also we have to have the proper idea or what segregation on that, because something which is liked by the elementary students, same thing we I'm not saying that we should not do, because there will be learning, every learning is very important, but we have to think of the blend of, that means percentage blend, or at what quantity we have to give. Then that is very important. There also we can see when it comes to that lots of we are using games, or maybe toys, or maybe some of the simulation activities, all those things. There we have to think that whether that is in that level, whether it is there or not, to give that to the MBA students or to the business management students, whether that is in that level or whether it is from a different level. That also we have to identify, or we have to have the blend of that one. Because many times what happens, okay, you have given the freedom, you do it, means some of us may do in a different way, because and students also do not know what would be the learning outcome out of that, and they may love also that, because they enjoy it, because they want some of the break also like that. Then we have to see that it should be in a proper blend. That's very important, proper blend, and to whom what should be taught, that's very important. Okay, you have the blend, but you have the proper blend. On that also we have to have proper what is that insight. And then another thing is what I want to say is these experiences, because they get the experience when they get their hands dirty, they get the experience. Okay, they get experience, but we have to think about before they get that experience, we have to brief them about what is the best method to do that one. Simply not putting, it's not simply pushing one person to swimming pool and you swim like that, but there will be some negative impact also, because if moving in a very different speed, and it may affect his heart rate or heart, all those things may be there without understanding. Okay, you learn by doing, you have to jump into that, then only you learn like that. If you just pick them over there, and that is not rational or scientific. Before that, you have to tell what is the method of doing that, then you just afterwards you put them into the that pool, then they'll learn. There may not be, because otherwise it is also associated with the cost. Doing ourselves without much insight into anything, it will be having some cost. That cost we don't know. It may be health cost, or it may be monetary cost, whatever it may be. So that also we have to understand. So what is important here is first we have to make them understand about how we can do it in a standard procedure. And there may be some of the procedures which may be out of the box kind of thing, may not be standard procedure, but more effective also. And that's what we wanted to find out, our intention. Because when they do it, they'll compare it, what is the earlier experience and what is now he is having experience, anything he learned out of that. Like we have to think of anything new thing is going to come from that. Okay, whatever they do. So that will be definitely helping us to take us to from one equilibrium to another equilibrium. That's very important. Then whenever they involve in any project or any activities, there should be more scope for or that creativity, and that output whatever doing, there should be measured the efficiency of that output. It's not only the purpose of creating on project or internship, they have done something and submitted, not like that. But whenever it is linked with earn while learn or maybe industry interaction kind of thing, then definitely they'll evaluate on the basis of the benefits only. It's going to create value. So many times what happens, it will be just creating a report and submitting to university or to the institute kind will be there. Then what happens? We do not know. Still it is like that only. Some analysis they are able to do, but the actual value kind of thing, we have to try to derive that value. That is going to happen, and for that some different grading or maybe additional or the diploma certificate, if really it is going to create some value, that measuring method is required now. Because that is not that, because you just see some of the universities, whenever they say it's a project or something like that, they'll come out with some solutions, invent solution. It may be medicine, or maybe it may be new product design. Because of that, from one equilibrium to another equilibrium we are able to go. So that type of orientation and then evaluation is required. Okay, if somebody is not able to create a value, but they were able to do only analyze some insight, so they are not going to lose. They'll get certificate and grades. But somebody is really there to give some or that more input and more value addition is possible because of his creativity or innovation. Then you have one or that system wherein that will be graded separately, like giving some additional diploma kind of thing for that. Okay, so that will really drive this into the new equilibrium or a new creativity, right? Otherwise what happens is experiential learning also, it becomes a mechanical kind of thing, like experiential learning, because you need to do one project he has done, you need to do this one he has done, and for doing that a lot of methods are there. Okay, some analysis you'll do, because I have given one project work, mini project to my students. Like I'll share my screen and I'll show you, wherein what they have to do is they have to go to different social media platform, and they have to see. I have given already 3 products. That is, one is MI company, another one Apple, another one Samsung. They can compare this leading 3 brands with any one they choose, which may not be that much performing. And what they have to do is actually they have to go to Facebook page of that particular brand. There they have to see what is the subscriber viewers are, the total subscribers, and then they have to see what are the latest 5 posts. So I'll show it to you now. Let me share my screen.
Sorry, Dr. Nagin. Sharing of screen is not possible. It's a live television. Yeah.
Okay, then I'll because I wanted to show it, so no problem. I'll tell you. I think you will be able to understand what I'm going to say. So what they have to do is they have to log in to Facebook page. They have to see the MI that is made by, not the fan group I'm saying, that should be made by the company itself, MI Facebook page. Okay, and they have to go there, they have to see there how many total subscribers are there to that page, and there what they have to do is they have to go through 5 latest posts. Okay, this is to only to see the engagement rate and compare that with the other brands. Why I'm saying this, because here some sort of analysis they can do. And because of that, where what has gone wrong, quantitative analysis also they can do, and qualitative analysis also they can do. Something else then it may come in their mind, like the advertisement method maybe not that much creative, or some leading brands might have used some different techniques, or maybe the very catchy tagline kind of thing. Why there will be less activity or engagement in one product like that, or anything gone wrong like that, just copying some brands, they will just copy the brand name like that. If you are if your product is or that having one name like 007 James Bond movie, another movie is going to come 006 or 009 kind of thing. So it is like copycatting. It's just copying the brand name or coming to very near to the brand name. It's not going to work out. How they made the brand? Because of giving what that quality, and how that name is recognized because of giving the quality. So if you give quality, forget about the name, whatever name, some normal name also. Just take an example of the Apple company. He did he gave that name Apple just like that only. He just thought of, okay, let me give. There is no much research on why I have to give Apple name to that one. Why that company is recognized? Because of its quality and niche marketing and differentiation. You got it. So that type of thinking or input they have to give. Students have to think very critically, and they should be able to give qualitative analysis and a quantitative analysis. What I did is I asked them to go to the different social media platform pages, sir, like Facebook. There they have to compare, they have to see what is the likes for that particular page. They have to see like the 5 page what that postings, latest postings. In the first postings, maybe that recent postings, they have to see there what is the likes plus comments divided by the entire subscribers into 100. You'll get engagement rate. So you find out for all 5 postings for one brand, add all these in average, that will come 0 point something, like 1 point something will come, because when you convert it into percentage, add it and divide by 5, you get average engagement rate for one product. Like that, you compare for 5 products, have it on Excel comparison. You do what is performing better, what is performing less. That also very photographical. You can see that, you can explain. And also you just see the qualitative analysis, like why in some brand more engagement is there, why, whether they have put any effort to engage them more recently, or it is the posting is not that much attractive, or anything in the content is very unique, like a discount they have given or varieties of product they have posted over there. That is experiential learning. They are doing it now, and once they complete it, I am going to do the analysis on that, their reflection, because it should not be like one project at the end you do and there will be presentation and submit it, and that is, we do not have much time to do the reflection. We have to get enough time to do the reflection. So what we do here in the VO course in retail and supply chain management, every weekend there will be one mini project kind, and next week there will be analysis on that and reflection, what they have learned and what is their recent experience, what earlier experience, what is the deviation between that one, what innovation they can. Then some of the students already they started some of the social engagement, some of the advertisement in the social media, and they are trying to monetize that one. So now experiential learning, it should be it should not be just following the methodology whatever already put forward by some of the experts, like there are some experts are there here. I have, if I have Paul Cobbs is there, Cobbs model is there, and just following that one and ensuring and saying that we have followed that one, and saying that effectiveness increase, engagement increase. And another important point here is whenever you go for experiential learning, students engagement and learning will be more. Why? Because they are experiencing it, as Dr. Jolie just told, experiencing it, point number 1. And as so Dr. Sudhir Sharan told, they are conceptualizing, because they are seeing it. They are seeing, literally they are seeing it like that. He just gave that example of doing that. There are a lot of a simulation method, and then showing the videos, and then showing simulations like that. A lot of methods are there, scientific methods are there, so that they'll get the real feel of that. It's like if you want to fly a flight, means you have the simulation method, or if you want to drive a car, means simulation method. And this simulation method even you can use for the marketing purposes, like what way you want to have the experience of car. So after producing a product and you are rejecting it, a lot of product will happen in India. They I think they are not doing the proper market research. And some experts, they suggested that, simulation method, if you come out with that also, you can feel the experience and you can suggest, okay, in technology point of view, how much it is feasible, I do not know, but definitely one day they make it feasible. We have,
Okay.
yes. So looking into all these things, I feel like, it should not be just, following the methods, just to complete, the process, or to say that we are all follow this one, but there should be value addition at the end. That value addition will be evaluated by the corporates and maybe the community or maybe the government bodies. If that value addition is there, definitely this expansion method will be, definitely it will be the future. It already, some big schools are employed this one, and you search in the internet, you will get it. The BOK education is one method, then other methods also there, like, directly going and doing job in the company, and then simultaneously learning. So it's a great topic, Lal sir chosen. I thank and congratulate you, sir, for your great insight.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Nagen, for giving your views. And what he says is he's differing from our earlier panelist in one way. He says, yes, experiential education is required, but it should not be given the full weightage. It has to be a blended one. It should be a value addition to our education. And he says there should be a proper planning and proper control on what type of experiential education we are going to give. And he has given an example of that, how he's giving the projects of MI, Apple, and Samsung. Now, here I would like to add one thing. In London, I have seen they have the Apple showrooms, Samsung showrooms, and there have, if you visit that showroom, there they are teaching how, as you asked, why the name of Apple has come, how it was evolved. Big screens are there, and I have seen myself school children's of about 8 or 10 years. They are going in their school dress there, and they are sitting there, and those people are showing them. Now, this is experiential learning. Now, just see, this thing can be done in India. We also have Apple showrooms in many of the cities, or otherwise. So one can, instead of only talking on theoretically or on this thing, why not a real experiential education, which can be done. I think then and it should not be done only on the when they are in the management students. Why not when they are quite young from the primary classes? Thank you very much, Dr. Nagen, for giving your views. Now I would like to go for my next round. That is the question. My question goes to Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran. Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran, you have mentioned about the experiential education, right? At one time, yes. But today, the technology has advanced. The corporates want soft skills. Now, you are talking of those experiential, you have shown a doll, Russian doll, you are explaining. Today, neither the teacher nor the student have time. They just want to go on the laptop or computer or their mobile phone. What you say about this, how the experiential education can go in that?
All right. So the highest soft skill is of an individual influencing another individual to do what the first individual wants the second individual to do. You will agree with me, this is the hardest soft skill to teach, whether I want to be a businessman, whether I want to be a scientist, whether I want to be performing artist, or whether I want to be village panchayat chairman. That is the soft skill that I'm going to need. And you are saying that in the modern era of technology, this is a challenge. I will urge that it was a great challenge 2,500 years ago, and a man got a disciple to whom the soft skill was being taught. The disciple came at the age of 13, and the disciple could not stay with the master for more than 3 years because luck intervened. Disciple's father was assassinated, and he had to take over the responsibility of the father. And now he had the biggest soft skill challenge. The killer of the father was brother of the mother. And therefore, this boy could not go and directly assassinate the mama, maternal uncle. Yet he had to assert his skill that he is not going to be taking it, lying it down. The teacher's name is Aristotle. The student's name is Alexander the Great. And he did not have the advantage of internet. He did not have the advantage of World Wide Web. And yet he had to teach him how to conquer the world with an army which was 1/20th in size of number of men, number of element, number of weapons. But what you will note is experiential teaching which Alexander invented. He is the father of the method of management adopted in education called by walking around. Alexander was famous that his lecturers in the Lyceum and his students both walked with him in train, and the dialogues, discourses happened. I have saved time for my longer answer because I hope the other fellow panelists also will have the,
Okay. Yes, yes,
that
yes.
one. So to conclude, the time period in human society is important, but the most important in experiential education is to recognize from the day Homo sapiens came on planet Earth till the day they will be extinct, they will be having one common feature, and that is the way their mind function will need a master to groom it, and me as a disciple to have the burning desire to gain the maximum from that one. The concluding point that I'm making is today we are seeing the problem that engineers at only 20-25% are able to find a job. Doctors, same story, they're able to save lives. Managers to create profits for the investors. This problem, I am very convinced that can be solved if we switch over to the present system of education to one which nurtures experiential education, makes it grow. I'm doing my modest bit here in Don Bosco. Hopefully, we will have a model to show Mr. Lal in years to come to others as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Susan. Definitely would like to come to your school, Don Bosco, and see how you are creating that model. Now, my question goes to Professor Dr. Jolie Jose. Professor Jose, you have mentioned about the education, and even you have mentioned about NEP. The National Education Policy, NEP 2020, highlights that in all stages, experiential learning will be adopted, including hands-on learning, arts, integrated and sports integrated education, storytelling based pedagogy, among others, as standard pedagogy within each subject and with exploration of relations. Do you agree that NEP 2020 will be the starting point of experiential education in India from the very beginning? Because it says at all stages. Professor Dr. Jolie Jose, please.
Yeah, definitely. NEP focuses for experiential learning, and not just to be on paper, it has to be taken. Experiential learning to be from the point of view from in our context. It also has to be within our context, starting observing what is around us, not A for apple, A maybe for angur for us. At the same time, multiple learning, our own language learning and the other languages learning and our cultural learning. And unless this observation and learning experiences just don't develop from the beginning, and what we say at the university level, it won't happen. We won't be sensitive unless we are being taught. We don't learn to take reactions and responses in a constructive way unless it is being processed. As my previous speaker said, has to be a groomer. That is the second parent, the both ways it happens, parent and then to the teacher and the total society. This reflective process, it doesn't happen. We all will be, numb people if we are all into the screen. We will be very, very insensitive. That we can observe around us that our generation looking at the other very insensitive. That is because, definitely I say it is because we are less human centered, human oriented, and that it is. I expect the structure also will be changed, curriculum also will be changed, and teachers will be motivated. I want to underline motivated and trained to be a paradigm shift into all of us to have a paradigm shift in doing that.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Dr. Jolie Jose. Now, my question goes to Dr. Nagin. You have mentioned about merger and acquisition in your profile. It is there. There are now, I had a program on my media conference about the games should play by the managers. In that, one of the panelists mentioned, now there are games created by the big corporates, and those games are for the like merger and acquisition. When you mentioned there is a game where the student can learn how to do the merger and acquisition. Or if you remember, in our childhood we used to play Monopoly. Okay, don't you think these types of games should be introduced now, even in the education, not for the corporates, but in the education time, from the very childhood, where these students can be taught about how they are going to have the experiential education through the games, and then the actual one. Time limit is 1 minute only, please. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. This type of games will be giving great insight. And then instead of listening to Monopoly, means one player will be there, he'll be having the control, rather than if they play, learn through that games, definitely that will be going to inculcate a very different way, and that will be experience, and they can definitely relate that theory into with the concept properly. So definitely we have to, inculcate that one, but we have to see that, what levels of game, that segregation is required. I cannot simply take, a game which can be, used by the 8th standard that to the management level.
Yeah, yes.
There
Yes.
ingredients are there, I admit, but, if you can, elevate that to that level, definitely you can do that.
Okay,
but there is no
okay. Thank you very much,
the
Doctor.
And the most powerful games are the simulation games for the strategy makers.
Yes. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Sudhisaran. Thank you very much.
I feel the whole thing, the process is important. Like not just the output. Earlier, the speaker said, the output we are looking at. More than that, even to grade the student, the potential of the output will be different.
Okay,
but
okay.
Process to be important.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Jolie Jose. Time running out of time. Thank you very much. And so, thank you, Dr. Nagendra, also for your views. So, viewers, you have seen this experiential education is 21st for the 21st century, not for 20. It is from us, with us, from the very beginning. But it has changed. People initially, they used to show the blocks, how the colors, and they have taken out for some tours. But now the experiential education is required because time is changing. As one of the panelists says, the time is not there only for telling the education. You have to change with the time, with the population increasing and with the industry's development. So experiential education is the main thing now, and which fortunately our National Education Policy 2020 speaks very, very loudly. And I'm sure if that NEP 2020 is implemented wholeheartedly with full as per the program, definitely this experiential education is the future of our country. Thank you very much to you all. And today's program has been live telecasted by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, Newsgaon se Samvad Sarokar News, as well as was shown live on Facebook and YouTube. And our endeavor is to bring to you in our evening edition of Kal Aaj aur Kal Lal Goel ke Sang one personality who has achieved and who has become a role model for the youth. And today my chief guest is Mr. Shreyansh Jain, famous film and TV actor, former chairman, the Aligarh Electric Supply Company Limited, Ghaziabad, and he will be telling about his own life story, how he has reached on the top. So please do join for Kal Aaj aur Kal Lal Goel ke Sang at 4:30 p.m. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Sudhisaran. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Jolie Jose. Thank you very much, Dr. Nagin, for giving your very, very enlightened views. I'm sure all our viewers are totally agree and get the enlightenment what is experiential education. Thank you all the viewers for watching our show.